Should you really produce your own music, or should you get some help? Well, if you've been watching this production series from the start, you know my answer is that you should definitely get help, because it's going to make your song so much better. I never would have been able to make my latest single sound as cool as it does now if I hadn't hired Fiona Foreman to produce the song with me. So we're gonna wrap up this video series by talking about how to work successfully with a producer, why you should understand every aspect of the music production process but maybe not do all of it, and why paying for professional help means that you actually end up with a better product at the end of it. Because ultimately you want to be making music that you're proud of, that you can put out on streaming services, send to your friends, family, and fans, and leave a legacy of your musical expression behind that you can be proud of for years to come. Sometimes you just can't go it alone, and if you've been struggling with making music in your home studio because you've been trying to do it all yourself, maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time to find some collaborators online, and in this video we're going to be talking about how you can do that. All right, let's dive in. What would you recommend if musicians or independent artists are watching this? They've probably already gotten a lot of useful info already, just working with the producer, how the process is. One of the things that I've drastically changed my mind on in the last 5-ish years or so is that I think that you should maybe know how to do everything yourself, but I don't think you should do it all yourself. I think you should have have a capable understanding and be well versed in communicating all of the technical aspects of production, beat making, music theory, which is sometimes very lacking in today's music world, and production, mixing and mastering and sound design and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to making art, making music, collaboration is, like you just said earlier, 1 + 1 will make 3. And it is so important to figure out a good group of people to work with, try working with different people, trying out new things, and seeing what comes of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to know yourself, like we've been talking about. Be aware of what are your top strengths. What's the core thing that you're really good at?
Yeah.
And I love working with authentic people who are really authentic, live authentic lives, that have a great voice and a great song. And I don't care. Like yesterday, I was working with someone who can hardly play guitar, but he's got this amazing voice, and I love drawing that out. I am good at tweaking songs. I'm not real good at getting songs started and writing. I can, but they're not awesome.
Right.
Someone else is awesome at writing songs. They're the people that I want to work with, because they've got this top tier skill, and my top tier skill matches their top tier skill. So yeah, I agree that yes, it is possible to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
But will it be the very best result that you can imagine? I don't think so. I think, I love working with people. I'm the same. In the last 5 years, I've co-written lots of songs in the last 5 years. And before that, I'd written, 10 songs in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
My productivity is escalated because of working with a team. But the tricky part is finding that team. And I think it's just a matter of trial and error, like you have done. Put it out in the universe, see what comes, have a crack at it, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work, okay, move on. Next, it's just another step in the journey. Yeah, I think working with others is and it's so easy in this day and age, as we said.
Yeah. No, I think if you do it yourself, like you can get a good demo going, but I think at the end of the day, it might just be a demo,
Yeah. And the other aspect to it is motivation, and it's really hard to be self-motivated.
Totally.
You have to be a special kind of person to be self-motivated. But when I don't think I've done any of my own 100% own tracks for the last 5 years. Everything is working with somebody else. There's that accountability.
Totally. The accountability is huge.
Yeah, and I tend not to have deadlines, but I'm a finisher. I want to finish for the sake of this other person who's paying me, particularly. It's my responsibility to finish, so it gets done. And as the artist as well, I've found that people who committed to the process by investing in themselves, paying a producer or a mixer, they'll actually put effort into completing the task and asking for the best. If they're not paying you, It's like, oh, whenever you're ready. And oh yeah, that's lovely. That's a really nice part. That'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. That's good enough. That's not really what we're here for.
Exactly. And if they're paying for a product, they have every right to say, actually, I don't really like that. Can we change that? And yes, we can. And you get it all gets so much better. So yeah, I would recommend that. That's something I think actually about artists paying for help.
Yes.
It might seem like it's costly, but it's actually really beneficial. I think you end up with a much better result.
I think the return you get, because ultimately, like, you will, if you put money down on something, you take it more seriously. You have to now work with somebody else, which creates accountability and gives you like command over the project, if you will.
Yep.
And you're responsible for making sure that it gets finished.
Yep.
And before like you can do your job, I have to at least finish the song or record the scratches and do all that. That forces me to do that. So it's like it creates this momentum. It's sort of like Newton, like momentum. It just creates momentum, and things in motion stay in motion.
Yep, that's right.
But if they're just like, if you're just sitting in your studio doing everything yourself and you don't have motivation to do it, nothing's gonna happen. And I think that you'll be surprised by the quality of the end product if you work with professionals. You shouldn't be surprised. You should know what you're getting. And obviously, like most of the time, you get what you pay for. And so putting a little bit of money down in order to just have that experience is also super valuable. Like there's a bunch of different ways that I can think about monetizing my creative career and figuring out how to like this product can be like, see if I could put it into sync or whatever, but ultimately I'll probably make some sort of education with it. And that's my way of productizing my creative career. And I think that you don't have to get return on the music itself. I think the value is already in the project once you start working on it. Like having done what we did together and having this final project, like totally worth what was invested, right?
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it, isn't it? It's not always about every dollar you put in has got to come back as a dollar from that same avenue.
Yeah, exactly. And this is maybe like me getting close to 40 and having a midlife crisis or whatever, but it is, my thought process is like, I don't want to die without releasing these songs.
And that's valuable to you. It's important to you.
Yeah. And I want to leave behind, maybe it's not like a legacy, but it's a body of work for my kids that like, I want to lead by example. Like one of the things that I started off talking about is I try to encourage the Audio Issues audience to release their own music and do it so that they have a body of work to look back on, because if it's just in their hard drive unfinished, there's nothing that you can be proud of.
Yeah. And the other thing I think is that I was thinking about this yesterday, songs are often very core stories or beliefs or issues, things that are really important to you. And if you're talking about kids and legacy, not necessarily like egotistic legacy, like look what I did, but if you want to teach, if you want to share your journey, if you want to, which I think is so valuable to people, telling each other your experiences, we learn from each other so well. And why not? What better way to do it with songs and music?
Totally.
And so if your descendants might hear a few songs that you've written and go, so that's what that person was like. Okay, but often, it felt attached to the places that he lived. That's really interesting to.
Yeah, it's like a part of the persona. I also want talking about my kids again. Is I want to normalize making music and creating art, and so that if they have an idea of, oh, I want to be a musician, I want to be a creative artist or whatever, I don't want society to kill that for them. I want them to be able to look at like their dad and be like, he did it. It's normal to be creative. It's normal to release your work. It's normal to sing your heart out. There's nothing wrong with that, because it's so easy to go to, once you get when you really get into being like angsty and creative is when you're in high school, which also maybe your worst years where you get kicked by society the hardest, right? And so having done that, sort of leading by example, is super important to me as well.
Yeah, it's right. And in the modern day of AI creativity almost being stifled by the fact that it's just all there and everyone does. No, it's actually, we want to hear your heart in your way of of expressing it, whether it's through music or art or whatever. So, right. Yeah, it's a really valuable point.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for the conversation. This has been so much fun. I really hope that people watching, in whatever format this ends up being, but it's been great talking to you about this and getting your perspective on it, and just you talking through the process and the perspective of that you had working on this song with me.
Yeah, it's been really fun actually talking it through. And interestingly, everything's already in my head. Like I've already had all these thoughts, and it's really interesting working with Björkman for this reason, that reason. And so it's nice to document it. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right, that's it for the production series. I really hoped you enjoyed it. Please do let me know what you think. Leave a comment below any video in the series. Do hit up Fiona for some work if you liked what she did with Home to You and would like to check out some of her other work. It's redrobinrecording.com.au. She's all the way down under in Tasmania. And it was really fun to be able to work with her so far away, yet so intimately at the same time. If you don't know me yet and you've still somehow watched all 6 videos in the series, my name is Björkman Benediktsson from Audio Issues, the author of Step by Step Mixing, How to Create Great Mixes Using Only 5 Plugins, and an independent musician as well, recording under the name Random Somebody, because if this random somebody can make music, so can you, and I encourage you to do so. Please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel so we'll keep doing more fun stuff on this channel. But if you want more from me, do go to audioissues.com and find out more from me there. Subscribe to the email list where I send tips and tricks on music production and mixing and mastering in general, and help you transform your demos into release-worthy records you're proud to share with the world. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Björkman again. Take it easy.